The bridge is a very well-known place, both good and bad. When I first walk up to someone, if they're over the rail, I think you're always a little nervous. Generally, the first thing I do is introduce myself. So I'll say, hello, I'm Kevin Briggs. I'm with the California Highway Patrol. I want them to know who they're dealing with, not just somebody in a uniform. I believe their sight is just very narrow at that point, and they see the only way out is by jumping over the bridge.
The bridge was completed in 1937. It began 3 years prior to that. It was the link from San Francisco to all points north. I think it's a symbol of strength, a symbol of power. The bridge is 1.98 miles long. It's 6 lanes wide with 2 10-foot sidewalks. It's always had pedestrians walking on it. Far more people come here for the positive reasons, to experience it and to walk on it and to touch it and feel it and be a part of its history. We do have people that are despondent that come out here.
I've been on about 22 years. Before I promoted to sergeant, which was just about 4 years ago, most of my time was spent patrolling on the Golden Gate Bridge. When I came on the Highway Patrol, and I knew I wanted to come to Marin because I was raised here, I had no idea what transpired down on the bridge.
Years ago, you never mentioned the word suicide for fear that they would all of a sudden think that would be a good option. Well, with all of our training, the first thing we say is, are you out here to hurt yourself? Something wrong today.
It's an unfortunate day from the start when you get that call. We received a be on the lookout for an individual, and I started down from the Vista Point area. And when he saw me, he immediately jumped over the rail onto a small platform I-beam that's below that. And he didn't want anything to do with me. So I just started talking to him. He was just having some very difficult times at home. And as we progressed, he started to trust me more. He decided on his own, asked for help, and he did come back over. Several weeks later, I received a letter from his mother. He seems to be doing much better now that he's gotten on the right path. That's what we do. That's why we're here.
I don't think that it's reported enough that we save a lot of people out here. Our success for intervening in a suicide attempt is about 80% to 90%.
I have never actually counted a number, but it's been numerous people, maybe 2 a month. When I talk to someone, I try to dig into them a little bit and see what's going on. I try to get their name and see if there's family members. Do they have kids? I try to get them to raise their head up. A lot of times they're looking straight down at the water. I like to leave them with dignity. I had an individual once who they called me out from home to come and talk to. I actually went down on my knees and said, look, I got nothing. I just want to come up and talk. He broke down and started crying, came back over, laid in the lane, spread out. But I emphasize with him, you're not under arrest. Stand up. You're a man. You're good.
You try to be as positive as you can and instill just a little bit of hope because that's what's missing.
I tend to talk about my life because I've been through a lot. When I was 21 years old in the Army, I was diagnosed with cancer. And you hear about cancer all the time, but when you get it and somebody comes and tells you, hey, you have cancer, you may not make it, it really sets hard with you. And 20 years later, here I am. I'm with the Highway Patrol. Things are great. I've totally recovered. So I can say, hey, I've been through some of this also. Out of my years, one. I've lost one person that I've spoken with. He was over the rail when I got to him. He never would give his name, wouldn't say why he was out there. I spoke with him for 40 minutes to an hour. He turned around and said, Kevin, I have to go now. My grandmother's down there. He shook my hand, let go, and jumped. They tell us if somebody's going to jump and they do jump, don't look, because that's what you're going to remember and that's what can affect you. But I watched this individual go. I thought I did what I could to prevent this. It's very tragic.
I was on scene with him on one incident where we were out there for over 7 hours. Kevin never quit talking and kept going.
It was a long time. It went well into the night, and we were all just freezing. It was just really cold, nasty, foggy night. We found out he did have some kids, and that really set it in motion for him to come back over. He had his hand through the rail coming towards us, so we made a decision to try to grab that hand. Being out there so long, the skin is cold and clammy and wet and slippery, and when we did that, we almost lost him. He did come back over.
We asked him, what was it finally, after all those hours, that you finally decided to come back? And he just says Kevin wouldn't give up.